So this is writing parallel and perpendicular line equation notes. It's a little mini lesson. It doesn't go, it's pretty quick because it's based on your last lesson. Once again, that's why it was important for you to do your practice and home learning that I sent you home with. If you didn't do it, don't be surprised if you have some issues today. The main thing we need to pick up out of this first section, which you were supposed to do yourself to fill in the blank, is the fact that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. From that, we're doing these examples. We only got 4 examples, but you better catch what you need to catch out of these 4 examples. Down here, for exercises 1 through 2, write an equation in slope-intercept form that is parallel or perpendicular to the given line. Make sure you identify the slope. So down here, the thing we're going to ask you to do, this is the geometry part, being able to write an equation to a line that they give you, and you're going to either do it parallel or perpendicular based on what they ask. So number 1, they want us to, and we wrote all these questions differently, but they're essentially asking the same thing, but I told y'all we do that on purpose because we never know the exact way they're going to ask you a question on the test. So we try to expose y'all beforehand to different question types of the same question. He's asking the same questions, we just wrote them all differently. Number 1, it says parallel to line which is y equals 2 plus 6x passing through the point 1, negative 3. What this is asking you is write an equation that's parallel to this given line, which is y equals 2 plus 6x. And the other line that you're going to write the equation for is passing through this point, 1, negative 3. That's something that you need to know to be able to write the equation for the other line. This is the first line here. They want us to find an equation of a line that's parallel to this line that passes through this point. I keep saying it because I want it to stick in your head so you understand what you're doing. So this original equation, it's in slope-intercept form. It's just not written the way I like to see it. I like to have my x in front, so I'm going to move this around. I'm going to manipulate this equation just a little bit. Make it y equals, move the positive 6x in front, plus 6x here, and it's the positive 2 moving up to the back, plus 2. Then from there, I want to write my equation of my parallel line. To do that, the first thing you need to do is identify your slope or your original equation. What's my original slope, Dior? My original slope is 6. Dior, I'm doing a parallel line. I'm going to put the symbol up here for parallel. I'm doing a parallel line equation. What will the slope of that parallel line be? Yeah, it ain't no trick question. It's 6. If you understand what we did yesterday, you should know that parallel lines have the same slope. So from here, I can just easily tell you that my slope of my new line is going to be 6 as well. Then from there, the other thing that I need to write a slope-intercept form equation is b. I have m because I can just get that from the original equation. B is the part that I need to find. To find b, I'm going to use the other stuff that it gave me. I don't know where my y-intercept on my new line is, but I know that my new line passes through this point right here. That's key. If you look at the slope-intercept form equation, it says y equals mx plus b. You got all these variables here. This is a plus sign. This ain't a variable. You got y equals mx plus b. I need to know what b is on my new equation. Well, I can figure that out because I have all these other variables. If you think about it, I have an m, then I have an x up here, and I have a y. If that's the case, I can plug all that in and solve for b. I'm going to say that again because I know that went over some of y'all head. I have the slope-intercept form equation. I need to know what b is on my second line. To find it, I can plug in for all these other variables and solve for b. I have an m because I know my slope is going to be the same, and then I have an x and a y which is a point on that new line that I'm writing the equation for. So I'm going to use this and M to solve for the B on that new line. So down here I'm going to say X equals 1, Y equals, I just like to label everything out for y'all so y'all can see it, -3. Then I'm going to plug this stuff into this equation. Just plugging it in. Y equals -3, so -3 instead of the Y. M equals 6, so put a 6 there, times, that's multiplication between M and X. And then 1, which is X, plus B. Now that I plugged all those numbers in, I can solve for B. 6 times 1, obviously, is 6, plus B, bring down -3. This is a one-step equation. Hope you don't screw this up. -6 minus 6 cancels. It's a positive B, so I'm bringing down just B. And then here, -3 minus 6, -9. So my y-intercept for my new line would be -9. Now I have the two things I need to write a slope-intercept form equation of a parallel line. I have the slope of that line, and I have the y-intercept. Now that I have those, I can write my new slope, my new line. My parallel line would be y equals 6x minus 9. This will be the equation of a line parallel to y equals 6x plus 2 that passes through point 1, -3. Before I move on to the next problem, any questions on where I pulled anything from? It should be obvious. I kind of went slow too, but no shame in it. If you have a question, I need you to know this. We good? They may not be on, Chris, but go ahead and take them out. It's a distraction to me. Number 2. Perpendicular to y equals -0.4x plus 2/3, passing through to 8. You will get some that are like this. This first equation is in slope-intercept form. Only problem is my slope is a decimal. If my slope is a decimal, the best thing I could do for myself before I try to solve for that other perpendicular line is get that slope in fraction form. I mentioned this to y'all yesterday, and I'm going to show you again today. But this is going to be the only other example, so you need to catch it here. You need to think about the one I did yesterday and the one I did today. So my slope is -0.4, but I can't leave it like that. I need a fraction here. To get the fraction, I told you how to change a decimal to a fraction. Look at your places behind the decimal, and then that'll help you decide how to write your fraction. It's -0.4. What place are we in? 1. What place are we in behind the decimal point? It's simple questions. Yeah, man, it's the 10th place. Now listen to what you just said. It's the 10th place. If that's the case, I want to change this to a fraction one. I'm going to say -4 over what? About? Over 10. -4 over 10, that's this decimal written as a fraction. But, you know, I can't leave it like this. It needs to be simplified. What can I divide by on top and bottom? It's -2 over 5. This is my fraction, or my slope, in fraction form. -0.4 can be written as -2 over 5 as a fraction. That's the case. This is going to be my fraction for my first line. My slope of my original line. I need to know that because this time they asked me for perpendicular down here. I need a perpendicular line. Perpendicular line means I need a perpendicular slope. What is my slope going to be for this perpendicular line? if you did your homework yesterday. Imani. Positive 5 over 2. Then after that, same as the other situation, we need the slope-intercept form equation, y equals mx plus b. Up top here, they told me the point my new line passes through. This is my x value, this is my y. X for me equals 2, y equals 8. And then I'm writing that in the equation to solve for b. 8 equals 5 over 2 times 2 plus b. I put the 2 up there for a reason. So once you write it out, on this side you got a fraction times a whole number. Y'all should know how to handle that. Make that whole number a fraction, then multiply straight across. You get 8 and then 10 over 2 plus b. Simplify that. 10 over 2 becomes 5. So it's 8 equals 5 plus b. And then the only step you need to take to solve for b is subtracting 5 on both sides. Cancels, cancels. Running out of space, I'm going to write it here. B equals what? Thank you. 3. So now in this situation, I have my slope, I have my b. I need to write the equation. Mike, what equation should I write? What equation should I write? Thank you. Y equals 5 over 2x plus 3 once you get the two pieces that you need. This is all I'm asking y'all to do. Some of y'all going to struggle though for some reason. Number 3. Any questions about number 2? I don't want to go on. And only thing additional that I added was the fraction part, but y'all should be okay with that. Sliding on. Number 3. Provide an equation that is perpendicular. We wrote this one different for a reason, just so you can see it different ways. Y'all should know by now, with me talking, that's perpendicular symbol. Provide an equation that is perpendicular to y equals 2 over 3x minus 1 passing through 0, 6. Be sure you have your equation in slope-intercept form. Zulin, what's my slope? Say it again. Why are you whispering? 2 over 3. So Zully, on this one, it's already in fraction form. We good. They said perpendicular. Zully, for my new equation, I need a perpendicular slope. What am I going to write? Why don't I take that up? Okay, we're going to come back to your coat. What's my new slope? Going to be negative 3 over 2. If you don't put that negative sign there when you set up in y equals mx plus b, you're going to get it wrong. When the activity that kids coming up to my desk, it's like, why did I get it wrong? What I do? They either forgot to change the sign or they forgot to flip the thing for perpendicular. One of those two things is their issue. After that, x and y. X is 0, Y is 6, and then you're doing Y equals MX plus B. This one's quick. Y equals MX plus B, and that 6 equals negative 3 over 2 times 0 plus B. Lucky for y'all, this one happens quick. What's negative 3 over 2 times 0? 0, right? So, which really is going to cancel. I'll write this next line. Equals 0 plus B. You can just drop the 0 off, and it's just 6 equals B. It's a B right there. Okay. Once you get to that point, you're ready to do what I need you to do. Here and here. Victor, help me write my equation.
Y equals
Huh? Say it again, I couldn't hear you.
Y equals 3, so negative 3 over 2.
There it is. Negative 3 over 2, I'm sorry.
Plus X. Plus X? Or X?
You didn't say the X. So start again for me.
Y equals negative 3 over 2 X.
There it is. I'm telling you. Hey, you gonna find out too. Hopefully you don't find out before we get to the test. If y'all don't write the X, we're gonna mark y'all wrong. If the X is, even if you did all this work and you write this equation, and that's the same thing with EOC. If you type it in and you don't have the X value there, I mean that X after the slope, we're gonna mark you wrong because it is wrong. So don't do all your work and forget to put an X in and then have it wrong. Alright, last one, for me at least. Create an equation in slope-intercept form that is parallel to 4x plus 2y equals 7. Passing through 4 and negative 2. Who can I bother? Chris, on this equation up here, what's our original slope? Say it again. No. What's the slope? Juan, what's the slope on this equation? I can't hear you. Good, I didn't think you was gonna know. You can't tell me slope on this because this is in standard form. It's not even in slope-intercept form. Y'all got to get that in slope-intercept form first, and then you can tell me slope. You should know, but you're probably gonna wait on me anyway how to do it. Minus 4x. I'd say if you did your homework last night, you would know. Positive 2y, bringing that down. On this side, I told y'all how I like to do things. So I'm going to move the 4x in front. Minus 4x plus 7. And then everything gets divided by 2. Here, negative 4 over 2. Negative 2x. Over here, can't simplify that, so 7 over 2. I ask you again, Chris, what is our slope?
What's the slope?
Ain't no trick, man. Negative 2. Slope is negative 2, so they ask us parallel. Chris, still with you. What's the slope going to be of our parallel line? Yeah, negative 2. Slope is going to be negative 2. After that, X and Y here. X equals 4. Y equals -2. And then Y equals MX plus B. Plug in. My bad, I didn't know I wasn't showing y'all that down here. But y'all should know what to do anyway at this point. Y equals MX plus B, and plug the stuff in. Oh, I'm not solving this one. Y'all solve this one. I'm gonna have y'all just give me the equation. Connor just gonna tell me the equation. Yeah.
Y equals -2x plus 6.
Oh, he already got it done. How about that? Solve that and make sure you get the same thing Connor got. I ain't showing it to you, Faith. You solving it for yourself. Oh, you already did it? Okay. Give everybody the next thing. You put B there. Why you put B?
Oh,
Yeah. What in the world? Don't write it like that. Put the X in front.
It's right there.
We gonna mark you wrong if you write it like that. Cause we don't write them like that. We put our slope in front. Huh? Yeah. Hold on. Let's stop. I forgot to hit stop recording. Before I said something crazy.